Hey friends, it's Rachel
and Shira. Welcome to our Zoom Out podcast.
We're two close friends who love having honest, vulnerable conversations about life, healing, and all the messy, beautiful parts of being human.
We definitely don't have all the answers, but we have a deep desire to see life from a wider lens.
We're here to ask questions, share our stories along the way, be real with each other and with you.
So if you've ever felt like there's a bigger picture you're not always seeing, you're not alone.
Let's zoom out
together. Welcome back, everyone. This week, after a long time,
this is the biggest episode yet.
We have the infamous Esti Friedman
as our first ever guest star on the Zoom Out
podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I am a loyal fan, not just because I love these girls, but because the wisdom is really good.
And what do you call it? Esti just made a name for the fans.
For the fan club.
We are Zoomer Outers.
Wait. No, Zoom Outers.
Outers. Let's go Zoom Outers.
Let's go Zoom Outers.
Esti's the number one Zoom Outer.
Okay, so this week the episode is the one where we stop people pleasing. And I feel like this is like so relatable to everyone. So Esti,
I'm the specialist. I know a lot about people pleasing for some reason.
Well, first I want to give some background because we've mentioned Esti on a few episodes already, but we all went to middle school together from the ages of like 12 to 14, kept in touch throughout high school. We're obviously sitting here today in our mid-20s in our new apartment while Shira's staying with us.
Yes.
As she's visiting. And so we all go way back.
It's a very special relationship. And I'm honestly really glad to have known both of them. You guys are really lucky because they're super wise.
Aww.
Shira has always been like the sage, honestly, like full of wisdom.
What?
Since she was young. It's crazy. Like literally middle school, and she was like so calm and had so much knowledge. And Rachel actually practices what she preaches.
Yes.
I promise you guys, all the things she says that she does, she actually does. It's incredible.
No, actually, like in one of our episodes, we talk about like the daily affirmations in her bathroom. I went to her bathroom. She literally has her childhood pictures and a whole daily affirmations thing.
It works.
But anyways, Rachel, tell us what are we doing here? What are we talking about? Yes.
Well, okay, so I feel like people pleasing is one of those hot topics that a lot of people, I think, very much relate to and struggle with. I think we all have a sense of a people pleaser in us, especially the ones who think that they aren't a people pleaser. I feel like they're the most people pleasers.
Yes.
So why we do this podcast in general is just we want to be as, clear with ourselves, as truthful with ourselves. I think the easiest person or the person that we rely.
The easiest person to fool is yourself. That's what you're trying to
say.
Thank
you. Shira just, finishes my sandwiches. From the movie, Let It Go.
I'm always crazy, but we finish each other.
Sandwiches.
So,
that's what
anyways, we felt that Esti specifically.
I do struggle with this. So yes, it wasn't that they just assumed this of me. It's something that I have a hard time doing. I really care about what others think of me, and I really want to meet up expectations that I've built in my head. Often not even what people are saying, but just like what I think I should be, what a good friend looks like, is someone who's always there. So I've struggled with people pleasing in a lot of relationships, but I think today we'll get into in my friendships how much I've struggled in that, but also growing. And I think you're getting a little bit of an insight into the middle of my journey. I wouldn't say I'm done people pleasing. I think last weekend I just did it. But I'm able to now at least identify it and correct it, or trying to correct it.
I love that. That's also like the whole thing of our podcast. Like we're in the middle of our journey. So I love how you pointed that out.
Also, I was going to say, no matter what age you are, we're all in a process of something, whatever that is. And I think it's not necessarily about finishing it, but it's about being able to help each other through it. And just like what Esti said, I think the biggest, most important part of that journey is just identifying it exists. You know that you're a people pleaser. Amazing. Now what? I think we also need to define what a people pleaser is. I know that's a very obvious thing, but I think we need to define it, what each of that.
Pinpoint that. What is actually like giving for others versus taking away from yourself and like people pleasing for someone else completely.
Yes. What is the balance between being a kind person and sharing and then self-abandoning?
Right.
There is a very big difference, and I think that sometimes that line can feel blurry. So we're trying to identify what that really looks like using real examples.
Also, because we always talk about like in relationships, you need to sacrifice and give of yourself. So like, where do you draw the line between like sacrificing, which is could be a good thing, and then like also being there for yourself?
So who wants to answer that question?
Oh, I came here to get
Esti,
answers.
exactly.
I listen to the podcast most of the time because I'm looking for answers.
Let's go, Esti.
Okay, but the caveat is that I have the podcaster at home, so I get to ask her. That's the trick. I think from my experience so far, it's when you sacrifice yourself. Because there are times where you can give to others, and giving is super powerful and very meaningful. But what point are you actually giving yourself up? When are you no longer caring for yourself? And then when you can't take care of yourself, you actually can't take care of others. Yeah. So you guys mentioned that in other episodes.
Yes.
Throwback.
You got to put your own oxygen mask on before
one.
helping others. Okay, so how do each of us people please in our lives?
Ooh, good one, Shira.
I think for me, a lot of the times, like, let's say I'll get a text from a friend, like I'll catch myself, even though I'm so not, or like a FaceTime, like I'm not in the mood to answer, but I'll answer because I'm like nervous, like, is like, even though like it's a steady and like healthy friendship, I'm like, oh, they're like gonna be upset. I don't want to like make them feel like I'm not like responding to them or being there for them or whatever. But like sometimes I literally like I'm just like either so tired or just not in the headspace for it, and yeah, I'll find myself like going out of my way when literally I could just wait like a day or an hour and like answer them later. Like it doesn't have to be.
So I think you said something really interesting. I just want to point out is that people pleasing is always, there's something inside of us that makes us think that we have to do this thing in order to feel loved or to receive whatever we want. So I think it's never about, again, it's like people pleasing is never about the other person. It's about ourselves and trying to understand like where do we lack something, and we people please based on that lack, from that place of lack.
So now like I'll catch
someone else will give it to us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So now like I'll catch myself and be like, no, this is my good friend. I know they love me and I could take time for myself, and that's okay. So you have to, like Esti said, like being aware of what it is and like trying to catch it in that moment.
It's also just a caveat. Oh, the mics. It's really hard. Like it's easier now to talk about it and like define it or like pinpoint it, but when you're getting that text, or when for me like someone's asking me, hey, can you do this for me, or can I give you or can you help me in this way, it's literally, it feels impossible. Like it feels like, oh, there's no other alternative but to say yes, like of course. But it's just because we haven't done it yet. That's what I'm learning. And then the first time I do it, it gets a little bit easier. And I was thinking about this and like comparing it to working out. Like when I first started, my first push-up was not a push-up. It was me flopping onto the floor. But my second one got a little bit better. And then like the muscle does grow. So I'm like still growing that muscle of saying no, or like not answering that phone right away, or saying, hey, I need that space. And then hoping that the muscle will grow and become stronger. So yeah.
And also like I don't, maybe it's our quote. I forgot, but I think on Instagram I saw something like, the way someone reacts to you saying no is not a reflection not a reflection of you, but a reflection of them. 100%. Like if someone gets offended that you're starting to put up boundaries, that has nothing to do with you being a mean person, because you're not.
She's the sage. I mean, this is why she's awesome.
I also think we've all experienced that moment of like trying to create boundaries, and you know, maybe it wasn't the healthiest relationship, and you see that reaction out of that person, and it, like what you said, it tells you so much. I think the biggest thing also is understanding like no is a full sentence. It is okay to say no. And honestly, sometimes like saying no is better for yourself and the other person. I want to give a personal example that happened recently with Esti, actually. So funny enough, she's here.
I get to share my side of the story.
Yes.
All the drama's coming out.
Well, this way we get to hear both sides. There's two sides, my side, her side, and the truth. You know that?
I get to determine that.
Yeah. Here's the counsel. Yeah. Okay. So basically, something recent that happened. I'm not going to speak for Esti. I'm just going to share my perspective. But Esti was on a solo road trip, and she was having a hard time. And I was home alone, and I had a very emotionally draining weekend. Just a lot of different things happened to me that really drained me, and I was like less than 0% battery. I think I was in the negatives. And Essie was texting me, reaching out, and she just like, you know, needed my time, my energy, just my space, emotional space to be there for her. And I knew intuitively that I didn't have it, but because I love her so much and I want to be there for her, and you know, that brings me joy to be able to be there for her in a time that is hard. I you know, was forcing myself in a way to be like, okay, I want to be there for her. And she could tell that I wasn't, you know, I mentioned I had an emotionally draining weekend, so she could tell that I wasn't there. But I almost like kept pushing myself, like, no, I want to be there for you. I want to be there for, tell me what's wrong, you know, like, let me help you, da-da. And it was Esti that was like, listen, we both deserve, it was a powerful lesson. She said, we both deserve each other at 100%. And you clearly cannot give that. You stated that before. So that's okay. I want to respect your boundaries. And we'll talk another time when we both have the emotional capacity to hold each other. And it was so beautiful. And it was like, it was so hard because I was so automatically self-abandoning. And here's my best friend who's having a really hard time in her own right and reminding me not to self-abandon, which was like,
That's
I think
a true relationship.
I was about to say, I think that's what shows Esti. She's about to deny it when I pass her the mic, but that is what makes Esti so special as a human. Is just like, she is always going to be there for everyone around her. Even when she's having a hard time, she recognizes what other people need to hear and what she needs to be for someone else, even though she needs someone, you know, in that moment for her. That's one of the qualities I love about her. And it was a powerful lesson because afterwards I got desperate at a point where I was like, no, Esti, let's speak. Let me call you. She's like, no, it's okay. You clearly don't have the space. We'll talk another time. And so
that's so healthy.
Yeah.
And so like
Hard. It's also very hard.
But that's so special. That's not an easy thing to like completely like recognize like that person needs their space even though you need them. But
it was so beautiful. I like was taken aback. I also that night after I was like, okay, Esti's right. Like, I'm not going to do it. That whole night I was so uncomfortable. I was like sitting in an uncomfortable place because I didn't even realize what a default it is for me to abandon my own needs and to overgive. I think that's also what people pleasing is, or one of those ways it shows up. Is like I overgive. I knew I was at 0% negative percent battery and I still wanted to create space that I didn't have. And so when I was sitting in that uncomfortable space and I kept asking myself, why did I want to self-abandon? Like, where is that coming from? I realized that the thing that came up for me was that I want to feel loved by Esti, which again, I know she loves me, but I want to be there for her. And it was like a way to get that validation. Like, okay, if I can be there for her and if I can overgive, she'll love me and I'll get that.
Right.
I know that she loves me, but it showed me my own limited belief system of thinking I'm unloved or thinking that I need validation in order to feel good about myself. So it was a great muscle, or it was a great practice to use that muscle of like sitting in the very uncomfortable space of not being able to give her something or overgive and not self-abandon. It was like a really uncomfortable.
Right. And knowing that she still loves you.
Yeah, and knowing, like, that's where the guilt came in. Was like, I know she still loves me. I know she's not mad at me, but I felt even more guilt for like really not being able to be there for her when I really wanted to.
And also, where is it coming from? Like, you're saying you want that validation from her. So are you being there for her in the best way you can be? Or are you being there because you want her to love you and to make sure that she, like,
right, that's the deep truth.
Yeah.
I think when I'm there for her, I feel like it is I'm do it because I want to be there for her, and like I want to be there for you, and like it's out of love. And part of it is also it's like what adds to the connection. It helps us water each other. It does make me give that validation. But when I'm when I have the space to be there for her, it never comes from the place of I need validation. It comes from a genuine place of like, I love you and I want to be there for you. But I think when the self-abandoning and the people-pleasing come in, that's a difference.
Right.
I think we just hit on something.
Yes.
The people-pleasing comes in when it's coming from a space of I need something from you and I need validation, so then I'm going to people-please.
Yes.
Not from this full place of love and whatever.
Yes.
So now I'm curious, Esti's side.
It's the same thing. I also have to say that I think it saying what you were saying before, it takes vulnerability, and it's also scary. You essentially are allowing a moment where you're disappointing someone and seeing how they react to it. They can, like, the reality is someone can react negatively to you saying no to them. Someone can leave you, someone can be upset at you. All those things are open and like a possibility. But if you don't allow it to be there, right, then it strengthens the relationship. You're like, oh, no, she's still going to love me.
Yes.
Even though I didn't show up one time out of the literally every single day of my entire life that she's there for me.
Yeah.
One time, it's okay. But it allows opportunity to grow, because you're like, okay, you're not testing the relationship necessarily, but like you're testing yourself, your ability to step back and love yourself. And then you're also testing the relationship with the other person. Like, are they able to understand my boundaries? Do they care to me? And it's okay. Maybe sometimes the answer is no, you know, and that's a vulnerability and that's a scary thought, but I think it's a worthwhile thought.
Yeah.
You know,
The truth matters.
Yeah, it does.
And I like what you said in the beginning, that like I had what to say and now I forgot.
Sometimes that happens.
that it's scary.
Whatever, I'll remember.
Yeah. No, I really like the idea of like the strength that comes within it. I think this podcast talks a lot about turning things that might be negative or a struggle or a challenge into positive. You talked about it with childhood trauma a lot.
Yes.
That was really interesting. If you haven't listened to that, like, go back. What are you doing here? Go
Let's
back.
go
and
zoom
listen to
outers.
that. Come on, catch up. But no, that's a perspective that we're getting in every topic, and it's so important. And the same thing here, like, how can you turn that moment, right, where you fell short, let's say, or like you weren't doing enough, but actually it's a moment of strength, like a moment where strength can come about.
Oh, I remembered what you said.
Good.
Sorry.
I was hoping
You
for
said-
that, 'cause that was done.
No, you said how like if you can't be there for yourself, you can't be there for others. And I think, like, let's say you had shown up for Esti in that mind space, you wouldn't have been giving her your full self. So like it's
She deserves
more beneficial for her for you to
Yeah.
take your space and then show up when you're in a better headspace.
Okay, so here's my question for all the people pleasers out there, including everybody in this room.
That's me.
What is underneath the people pleasing? Like, when you ask yourself and you sit with that question, like, why do I people please? What comes up?
You go ahead.
No, you go.
I think you already
That
said
was a hard
kind of
question.
like fear of abandonment and fear that like
That's a good
if you're not showing up 100%, then like that's it. The relationship is over or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if I don't text this person back,
Right
like
away.
they're going to forget about me,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's where it's deeply rooted. What about you?
I think it's the perfectionist in me, or my expectations. I have like really high expectations for me. No one's put that. My parents like are not like that. They don't like think, oh, you should get like the best grades or anything like that. I've always been like
Yes.
a self type of person, and that just translates into my relationships and my work, anything. So it's that like thinking you're not good enough, but in reality, like that one action that you're gonna do doesn't determine if you're good enough. You
Yeah.
determine if you're good enough.
Yes.
Like,
I just want to say it's really interesting when I asked that question, how different your answers were, because you're doing this very similar actions, but each person, because we're so unique and at the same time we're so similar and so relatable, we each come from such a different place of lack, you know.
So what is it for you?
yeah.
For me, it's definitely great question. Well, no, for me, I mentioned it, but it definitely comes from a place of like not feeling that loved and wanting that external validation. So if I feel I can give to someone, then I feel like they love me, and then they're loved, then I'm lovable.
Right.
So for me, it's learning when I stopped, you know, slowly, like Esti and I are put in situations where the opportunity recently even it happened, like the opportunity to people please is there. And I started like creating my own boundary of very kindly, but being listen, you know, I don't want to commit. I love that idea. But I kind of know myself. I know I'm going to be tired at that point. So let me tell you later on, like when someone asks us to hang out or social engagement or whatever. And I remember Esti, when I said that, she looks at me, she's like, damn, how do you do that? Like, that's so hard.
Shocking. I literally cannot fathom it. And she does it. That's why you should listen to this, because it's one thing to talk about how to be a good person and what to do, but listening from someone who is actually doing it, changes it.
You're so sweet. But yeah, I think it really goes back to like understanding what's underneath it and pouring love into that place, you know, because the more love I've been pouring into my relationship with myself and letting go of external validation, giving that validation to myself, that is what helps me stop people pleasing. It's not like all of a sudden someone asks me to hang out and say no, and I'm so proud of myself. It's about understanding what's underneath it. Underneath it is me thinking that I'm unloved if I don't do this. So the way that I kind of counteract that is I pour more love into myself so that when I don't want to do something or I can't do something, I literally don't have the space, I am able to do it from a place of love for myself and the other person rather than a place of lack. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
What does that look like practically? But go ahead.
What does it look like practically? I mean, I would say like saying no more, but like, I don't think it's even that. I think that maybe is how it manifests, but just like sitting with yourself and saying, how am I feeling right now? Do I need to do this? And am I doing this for the right reasons? Am I doing this to get validation, or am I doing this because I actually want to?
Like a truthful check-in and being honest. But for me, it really goes back to like, I know that mine ends up from self-love, right? Not feeling loved and wanting to feel loved by others. So one thing Shira mentioned, one thing I do every day is I do my personal affirmations, and I sit there for a couple minutes in the mirror, stare at myself. For the last couple years, I've done it, and I say all the amazing things that I want everyone else around me to tell me. I tell it to myself. So it allows me to start my day already from a place of like full of love rather than, okay, where can I get love and who can I get love from? So I think it's practically, first you need to identify where it comes from. For yours, you mentioned fear of abandonment. For yours, you mentioned you're not good enough. So it's hitting what can you do to break those limited belief systems. And I think naturally that will allow you to stop people pleasing.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Amazing.
Wait, before we read the quote in question, I want to shout out Rachel and Esti. Rachel and Esti have been best friends since we were in 7th grade, and it's literally so inspiring to watch like how healthy your friendship and relationship is. And we talk about, like you mentioned Esti so many times.
Of course. How can I not?
We talk about like all our episodes about like toxic friendships and like relationships and love, whatever. Like, you guys, I feel like, are the example of like how to navigate like a healthy, solid friendship.
That's so sweet.
And I'm so excited to have
They're both
Esti.
my examples, honestly. It's very hard to find good people in the world. Everybody's good, but you know, you guys have very special people. So I'm really grateful that they're doing this and they're allowing others to hear what they have to say, because it's important.
Esti, this
And
is
I'm
not
obsessed.
your last episode.
Guys, this is my fan dreams come true. But I was very nervous.
We'll give you the autograph after.
Esti did great, and this is just the first
Our food came.
of many. Okay, so going to the quote in question, I think Esti, if you want to read the quote for us.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. When you say yes to others, make sure you aren't saying no to yourself. So when you say yes to others, make sure you aren't saying no to yourself. By Paulo Coelho.
Amazing. Shira, you want to read the question?
Yes. Question for reflection. It's so simple. Why do you people please? It's so simple, but so profound also, because once you get to that, you'll be able to help yourself stop people pleasing.
Amazing.
And there it is.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Esti.
Esti will be back.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
We hope this conversation helped you feel a little bit more seen, a little less alone, and reminded you to take a step back and zoom out.
We're grateful to have you all along with us on this journey together.
Stay tuned for our next episode.
Bye, friends.